Everyone, I'm passing around the sign-in sheet for the hazard mitigation plan. If you all can just start filling that.
Have time, green time match.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's meeting of the Kentucky Regional Planning and Development Agency. I'm David Holder, the board chairman. Happy to have all of you here today on the 24th of March. I'll ask Executive Director Jared Haley, but I'll call the roll.
Honorable John Black.
Here.
Honorable Bernard Bowling. See up there. Honorable Sean Crothers. Honorable Byron Chapman. He was here for CPC but had to leave. Honorable Beverly Chester Burton.
Here.
Thank you for coming today, Mayor. Honorable Jack Kaufman. Mr. Matt Munay for the Honorable Matt Dildira. Here. Mr. Brian Dixon. Honorable David Eaton. Mr. Kevin Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Lena Muldoon for the Honorable Greg Fisher. I see you on the screen. Honorable Jeff Gahan. Mr. Keith Griffey. Here. Mr. Albert Tubby Purcell for the Honorable Treva Hodges. Honorable Dan Eisman. Here. Mr. Andy Crouch for the Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable Todd Pillock. Present. Honorable John Riley. Here. Honorable Joe Robinson. Honorable Jerry Summers. Here. Honorable Jim Travis.
Here.
And the Honorable David Vogel.
Here.
We do have a quorum, Mr. Chairman, and also I want to welcome Ms. Dana Maiden with Congressman Yarmouth's office. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for being here. All right, with that, we'll officially begin the meeting. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from our meeting on February 20th?
So moved.
Second. Second. Is there any discussion on or correction in regard to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now I'll ask Tom Polk for our financial statements for February.
Thank you. Your binder and your information, starting on page 22, agenda item number 5 is the February financial report. And the budgets that are reflected are the original budgets, and we'll update those after today's meeting. But the expenses there that we're seeing through February with the new budget, we're not expecting any problems. And that's the first page. And then the following pages are the agency-wide line item revenues and expenditures. And again, usually reflect the original budgets that we will update today's meeting. Any problems. And that final part of the report, starting on page 28, is the balance sheet, and it shows we're in a sound financial position. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions? Motion to accept Mr. Polk's report.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. In favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 6, Transportation Policy Committee report.
Thank you, sir. Transportation Policy Committee, TPC, just met in this room, and we just ended about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Maybe you all know, so I apologize for running a little bit late this month. I'll try to be brief here and not maybe not as long-winded as perhaps we were in the meeting. Again, we met at 12:30 today. On today's agenda, one of the highlights was we gave an overview to the TPC of really what they were, okay, to reassess, reestablish the opportunities, the responsibilities that the TPC has, not only in the funding that comes to this region that they have direct control over, but of the staff priorities. We tried some interactive polling on the screen up there, and I think it worked out pretty well. So some feedback. We got some feedback from the committee members to take back and to prioritize our work going forward. I gave a brief overview of the federal certification review update. That's the once every 4 years assessment of the MPO, or the transportation planning process in the metropolitan region. We established a call for transportation planning studies. We put out over $200,000. We set out for transportation planning studies this year to do corridor, county level studies. So we announced that today, the call for, and we established the process for that. We heard a brief presentation from Mike Sewell, Gresham Smith, about the concept of complete streets. And one of the things that Mike reiterated is that not all complete streets are created equal. There can be complete streets in rural Kentucky and rural Indiana, just like there can be complete streets in downtown Louisville, most urban areas. So not all of them are going to look the same, but complete streets, it's a win-win for everybody. And last but not least, I presented the draft version of our work program, our EPWP, Unified Planning Work Program, that establishes the MPO's transportation planning budget in terms of the hours that we can commit to various tasks. That concludes my report.
All right, any questions for Andy? Nice job. We apologize for running a little bit late, had a lot of information on the PPC. All right, the motion is accepted.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Now the Transportation Council, Regional Council, will have a report from Randall Lynn.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Regional Transportation met at 1 o'clock in a small conference today. We reviewed and approved the minutes from January 27th. Had a public comment period, talked about the county transportation updates in Henry, Shelby, Spencer, and Trimble counties. We had a guest speaker, Susan Oldman, who's with KYTC, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. We talked about the new infrastructure grants and bills. And also in other business, showed RTC members the KIPDA Online Resource Center that we have that has all our comp plans, land use plans, and planning studies on there. And then talked about the KIPDA Public Involvement Plan, topics for future RTC meetings. And our next RTC meeting will be May 22nd, 26th at 1 o'clock. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Questions? Motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Number 8 here, ride share program request for proposals. Elizabeth Bowen, show.
Thank you. Our regional rideshare program, Everybody Counts. We are in the process of our contract with our database software technology expires on August 2022. So we're asking the board for approval to move forward with the RFP process starting next month. And that rideshare database is our billing modules, our maintenance modules, our commuter activity, ride matching, also with hosting sites and our app for our program. So just asking for approval to move forward with that RFP.
Motion.
So moved.
Second, Bernie.
Seconded. All right. Any questions here for Elizabeth? How is, since the gas prices have spiked up, and have you seen any reaction during the program?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. We actually have several Vanpools going back on the road. We had one in March that went on the road. We have one going back on in April. We have a new Vanpool coming from J-Town. Thank you to the J-Town folks. That will be going in April 4th. And we have 2 that are slated for May 1st. So yeah.
How is the participants share the cost of gas?
Yes.
They work that out themselves?
Yeah, that's part of our database that we need, our technology. It actually helps us import the fuel and then invoices.
Invoice, how is that invoice?
It invoices every person that is a participant in a particular vehicle.
Okay, so they don't just sit there and divide up.
Oh, no, they don't have to do it. That's what's so special about our software,
Okay.
why we need it.
Well, I did fill up my Suburban the other day, and the gas station, pump stopped at $100. I don't know if you couldn't go over or what, but it's getting kind of rough out there.
Elizabeth was an internal promotion. We've been in this role as the program manager for a little over a month now. I think that, as she alluded to, Matt and Mayor Deere really advocated when New Vanpool will be active. So if you all have any potential businesses where you would like for Elizabeth to go out, I know that she would be more than welcome to go. She is a tremendous salesman of the program. So we would be happy to go speak with any potential businesses about our program and offer those transportation services that you all.
Please just give me a call. And what's really special about this new Vanpool, it's an entirely Hispanic. They're all from Cuba and have been in the country for several of them for less than 5 years. The driver actually has been here for 6 years, but because of the high Cuban population, I mean, they're very excited and we'll be starting in April. So really excited to work with them.
All right, so the Vanpool program, they don't all have to work the same location, or they can work in the same area.
Same area.
They kind of team them, put them together.
Employers, we have employer Vanpools and then we have regional Vanpools, Fort Knox, Frankfurt.
So if people are interested in joining the Vanpool, can they contact us to try to
Absolutely.
learn about who else might be, or get on a list? And
Yes.
might be something we need.
And especially with gas prices, because we're seeing people that are in situations which they may not have thought about Vanpooling, but they're like, oh, I don't have to pay this bill. I'll sit with people.
Right. Well, would you maybe send the judges and
Yes, absolutely.
whomever information on how we might logically promote that in our county?
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, we got a motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9, the fiscal 23-25 area plan for approval here. That's from Jessica.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go to the original place. Y'all ready? All right. Hi, guys, out there. So we are, I'll hold it up here for me. The Social Services Department has developed a new area plan. You all should have received it in your email from Susan Travis, the full version. I'm going to touch on some points and summarize for you all today what is in that 3-year plan. We did have our public hearing Monday night. We would have liked some more attendance to that, but it is what it is. We're hoping to get a lot of comments online. This plan goes for fiscal years 2023 to 2025, so it is a 3-year plan. The former plan, they usually run in 3-year cycles. The last one was extended 1 for COVID. So this is a brand new plan. We will update it each fiscal year after this one. Paul's gonna fix my clicker. Oh, he's gonna click for me, okay. So you all are well aware of the mission of KIPDA, that we provide person-centered timely services to the regional older adults, those with disabilities and caregivers. You can click the next one, Paul. Our vision on how we do that is that we foster and embrace environments to collaborate with other community partners to ensure that people age in place in the community of their choice. This is who we are. I will not read that to you, but obviously the Area Agency on Aging was established through the Older Americans Act to serve those individuals I just mentioned. We became the Area Agency on Aging and Independent Living after 2007, once we took on Medicaid waiver programs. And so we serve persons of all ages in some programs. You all know who we serve. We are the largest metropolitan area in the state as far as area agencies on aging. Our foundation is in the Cabinet for Health and Family Services mission, obviously, to be a diverse and inclusive organization providing programs and services. We work diligently to be equitable across the board. You'll see a lot of that in this plan when you dig in deep. If you read through it already, you can see that there. It's a focus in the state plan and ours as well. We want to ensure health and well-being is a high priority. Health and well-being across the lifespan, reduces the need for services in older adults.
What's that word equitability mean? I've never heard that before.
Equitable, meaning that you provide services in a way that all persons have opportunity to have the same access.
Well, you've always done that.
It's quite the buzzword. So as we develop new plans, we're bringing in, you'll see diversity, inclusion, equitable, resilient. So as you see, resilient is the next one, right? It's really just the state and us working to make sure that we are focused on the same things across the board and providing services in the way that allows for everyone to have access. You'll see throughout here, as we always do, how to reduce the cost of services, how to create partnerships to assure that the community is working together to support services as you collaborate, economic stability. Next slide. These are just a few of our programs listed. As you all are aware, we primarily in the aging services are our Title III-B services. Those are our senior centers that have all types of supportive services in-house. Our congregate meals, which we've talked about a lot this past 2 years. Disease prevention, elder abuse and ombudsman. We do respite, state health insurance program, long-term care ombudsman. Those are the individuals that go to the nursing home to advocate for individuals there. Consumer directed options. They still use this language in here, but it's now known as participant directed services. And we do community preparedness planning, meaning that we do disaster planning for the area. Currently working on a mass casualty plan for the region with several partners. Next slide. A few of our statistics. Just note, please, that this data is based on the 2015 to 2019 data. We do not have the released 2020 data for current use just yet in this plan. The department's well aware of that. They've asked us to update it and make you first follow up. So, you've heard me say this one before, 1 in every 5 or now 1 in every 4 point something individuals you pass is an adult person in this region, in the whole region. 22% of all persons in the state of Kentucky live in our region for older adults. 17% of all persons statewide are in Jefferson County. Of the older adults that live in rural counties across the state, 18% of them live in our rural counties. 18% of all individuals in our region are isolated or alone. We have a very direct focus on them. Many in the region are low income and 1/3 of those are minorities. We serve the largest populations across the board. Next slide. So this is how we sought input for this plan. We did our community needs assessment. Thank you all. I would walk around and high five everybody in this room. We had a number in mind that we wanted to get passed. It was our corner number and we surpassed it. So thank you all for that. Thank you for getting that information out there and getting that feedback for us. We collect feedback every single day in various ways, over the phone, through surveys, through provider feedback, through feedback from you all to help us develop these plans, as well as community events wherever we are. This is a little bit in the plan about where our funding sources come from. It's detailed in the plan. You all are well aware of that one. The main thing I want to say here is the bottom 6. So, sorry, bottom 7. There's a lot detailed in that plan about how we intend to work to create opportunities such as these that is outside of our typical funding sources. That need network lead entity partnership is about healthcare and related fields. You know that we've tried a few of those. We've been walking through them, learning about them. The ad directors are working with us on that. And we're moving forward. So all of the other ones, contracts through corporate grants, fundraising, individual contributions, and fee for services. That's talked about a lot in the state plan, as far as individuals contributing whatever amount to their own service. We do that more in the meals program than any other, I believe. So, you know, persons are offered a meal and they say, well, you can make a donation. They get notified of that a couple times a year, but we're going to try to increase that. So We don't do this alone. As you all know, we make many partners. They are detailed in the plan. This is an example of a few. So down to the nitty gritty. What are our top 3 agency goals? First and foremost, our goal is to transition from our pandemic operations to newly defined operations, creating new opportunities for growth and based around the innovative things we've learned. Such as we've learned that we can do virtual services. We've learned that some people actually prefer to jump on technology. Now that's a big one, I know, and it's talked about a lot, but we will continue to explore that and how to fund those particular things. We've learned that we can serve meals differently, things like that. What can we do that we've learned through this pandemic that will allow us at a lower cost to serve more individuals? We're going to continue to expand our advisory council. Thank you for each of you that reached out about the advisory council. I cannot tell you how important this is. It's basically, how do I say this? Our best friend. So advisory council truly should be, it has never truly been exactly what we need it to be, at least in my history here at KIPDA. We have tried several different annuals. We're trying a few more now to try to build it. But it's us, the KIPDA staff, walking in this room and talking to the advisory council. They're feeding us back ideas. They're working in the community on about half this organization as well. And we build and grow from that. And we want to expand our revenue streams. What were our top 3 utilized services during last plan year? Meals, no surprise there, right? Transportation, although it's a dial towards the end of the pandemic, we're working very hard to establish that again in the community. And in-home services, and that includes both home care and Title III services. And that also is several services all wrapped into one. So anything you can think of in the home is under in-home services. This is the top 3 needs or gaps identified. Now you notice transportation and in-home services are 2 of the top utilized. They're also the ones that have additional needs we have not met yet. So there's a strong focus on that and how we provide those moving forward, encompassing some of those things that I've already spoken about. The other one is caregiver services, not only for caregivers of older adults and those with disabilities, but grandparents raising great children. A lot of people who answered the survey were caregivers. Those are the people that call us the most often. It is not necessarily the client themselves. It is someone that cares for them or cares about them that is looking for services for them. You support the caregiver in this region, the health outcomes of the person they are caring for improve. Also, I want to note here so that you all know, there was a 4th one in tight ranking there, and that's information. So we focus very heavily in the plan about how we get out to more community events, how we speak to agencies and do presentations about our services, how we speak to universities and healthcare entities about what we do here and working together so that we are penetrating this community and spreading it far and wide. If you need information, you call us. These are our top 3 least utilized services. So counseling, legal services, employment services. The thing I want to mention here is that we do feel, based on what we've reviewed, that it's not that these services, it is not, well, we know this, it's not that these services are not needed. We feel like if we do some of the things I just spoke about, that people will recognize that these services are there. We don't feel like we've done an excellent job. We've done the job. But we need to do a little bit better job of letting people know that these services are available to them. So this goes deeper into outreach, expansion, and visibility, how we get out there through collaboration, through libraries, through schools, through presentations. I'm going to say it right now, email me, please. Email info@KIPDA, email me directly. When you guys are organizing or know of community events, automatics, send it. So I'm going to find a staff member to go out there and talk about what's happening, what our services are. And not only that, we need the assistance to know where to be in the community where people are showing up to talk about how we need people on staff and volunteers out here. And we will do the traditional ones too, newspapers, a stronger focus on our social media, radio, newsletters, and mailings. Part of the plan is we have to make sure that we document and develop additional community opportunities. We help support focal points and multipurpose centers, as you all know, to provide 3B services. I don't know why I'm still looking. During this planning cycle, we will procure for 3B services in the first year of this plan. We will use several things to help determine how we develop that RFP as we have historically, and knowing the new things that we know now. We will also review and research information from regional associations such as the Southeast Association for Area Agencies on Aging, and N4A, which is the national one. So we talk to our partners across the country, what's working, what's not? How's it gone for you? In order to develop that RFP. We plan to increase long-term care planning, visibility, and information. So when you think about older adult services, long-term care, when people say long-term care, they often think about nursing facilities, right? If I say long-term care, what's the first thing you think of? Some type of facility, right? The services we provide are long-term care. The difference is it's in the community. So we're focused on making sure that people have long-term care services and supports throughout their lives, that they're informed of their choices, and that services are person-centered planning around them. Also, in order to do that, our staff across the board, us and providers, need to be trained in all topics related to older adults and long-term care planning. So there's a strict focus in there on exactly how we're going to do that, increase our knowledge so that we make fully informed decisions. Just a little bit more, goes a little bit deeper into information and referral, how many calls we take. That's a combination of calls, emails, different requests we get from the community on any given month, and improving services. We'll do that through feedback and reevaluation. Our role as an area agency on aging is program site monitoring. So if we contract with an entity, we're responsible for making sure that that entity has carried out its duties under contract and provided services in the way prescribed. So there is the layout of the current area plan is almost identical to the last area plan, except for they changed the primary goals. So the state developed 6 new goals. We have developed how we will get in line with those 6 goals and what we will do in our region to make sure we succeed here and as a state. The first one is to provide those long-term services and supports. We've talked a little bit about how we're going to do that. The second one is to ensure that the persons we serve have access to person-centered care. Person-centered care, there's a buzzword for you. Write that one down because that one is everywhere. I've served on a few councils to talk about person-centered care, especially with Medicaid waiver. Medicaid waiver is kind of where we first heard that topic come up, and it is what it sounds like. It means that if Kelly needs services, that we should focus those services around Kelly's needs and wants. I shouldn't hand Kelly this book and say, this is all we got. Let's figure it out. It's a conversation. What's available out there? How might we need to change this to fit Kelly's needs to make sure she stays in the community? Next one. This one's about the business related strategies. So how do we collaborate? How do we become innovative? How do we create sustainability? Sustainability. That's a huge focus in the ARPA funding, which I know you all have walked through on your all's level as well. We are walking through that now on our level. Very important. How do we prevent abuse, neglect, and exploitation and protect the rights of those with disabilities? That is literally integrated into everything we do. Every training program, every active program, every direct service. to make sure that we protect the rights of older adults and that our providers and our network are informed on how to identify that and how to address it. Make sure it's good. How do we do quality improvement? We do that through multiple steps and working with other entities as well. Making sure that the leadership team here is informed, educated, and reviewing things to assure that you're doing it the best way possible, making the maximum impact. Next one. Taking a breath, y'all. I was talking for a minute. Y'all still with me? Still with me? Okay. I swear I only do the long version once every 3 years. I'll update you on this. And I appreciate you all reading through that and providing feedback. Make sure that elders, those we serve, have equitable access, regardless of their social, cultural, or geographic barriers. So we work to identify what those are, how to break them down, and to eliminate them ultimately. Paul. We skip that one. That's more detail on the last 6 that I just read. And go to the last slide. So comments are collected for this plan until March 28th midnight. That is Monday. We're asking today in just a moment for y'all to approve the plan as it's drafted currently for us to send to the Department for Aging and Independent Living. All comments made on the plan are collected anonymously. Any changes we make to the draft will be posted and provided to you based on those comments. We will send the final draft to the department on March 30th for their final approval. If they give us feedback and they say, you know, can you look at it this way, or what exactly were you all trying to do here, we will also update you on any of those. Comments, questions, feedback?
I have one question. You said something about a new plan or a new drill or exercise, mass casualties.
Oh, so yes, I was there, yes. But so a few months ago, Louisville Metro, it's a federal, state, and local government initiative, public health, so literally every entity you think of, to make sure that the region has a mass casualty incident plan in the event of a mass casualty. So we're working together to develop one. I can send you information on it. You want to do it? Yeah.
Hopefully we don't ever have to worry about
I pray we do. Amen. I pray we never do either, but if something happens, we want to have a plan in place, so.
Is there a definition of what a mass casualty is?
I'm sure they've defined it.
I think it's more than the air, more than 4 deaths.
Is it? I didn't dig that deep, but thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We never see it.
yeah. No, I'll forward that to you all right after this meeting if you'd like to see it or to learn. Yeah. We're working through contacts right now, and we've just separated in the top subcommittee, so. I didn't realize you all might not have been aware of that. How about us before graduates? There you are.
Okay, are there any other questions? They're asking for us to approve this draft report to be submitted at the 30th here. Not finished with it, right?
No, it will not be absolutely finalized until March 30th when we send it after the comments we receive on the 28th. If there are any major changes to the plan, we will give those to you prior to submitting it. Yeah, I'm asking for as it stands. I don't anticipate a lot of changes based on what we've gotten so far.
I make a motion, Beverly Chester Burton.
All right.
Thank you, Beverly.
Okay. A second?
Second.
I'd just like to make one more comment, Chairman. Not on area plan, but just to update you all from the last meeting. That's all right. We have seen.
Let's get the vote real quick before we.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were there. Sorry,
Further
dear.
discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm on turbo mode, in case y'all didn't notice. But thank you for that. I just wanted to briefly say, follow up from the last meeting. I didn't add it as another agenda topic. I was actually thinking of it as a walk through this area plan. We have sent guidance out to our 3B providers, our senior center providers, that is along with the Kentucky State guidance. So we actually met with one yesterday. We are currently meeting with our 3B providers to talk about how to get back to normal capacities, because currently under the Kentucky COVID guidelines, Social distancing is only recommended under red. Encouraged, sorry, let me use their words. Encouraged under red. So that is a giant leap forward. Bear with us as we work out the details to what that looks like as we walk through the rest of this fiscal year. Definitely talking about FY 23 moving forward and what that looks like. But I wanted you all to know that because I know I was follow up with you guys. So.
And Jessica's saying, like she said, communication with all our providers as well as Mitzi reviewing all the guidance that we receive from the state and federal levels. So we are sharing the most current and up-to-date.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 10, update on the National Family and Kentucky Caregiver Program. From Mary Ann Hall and Amanda Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a little handout to give you all with some basic information about our programs. I'm Amanda Davis, and I coordinate the National Family Caregiver Program. I've been here for a whole 8 going on 9 months almost, so not very long, so I'm still learning. So I just wanted to explain to you all about the National Family Caregiver Program. And Jessica talked about caregivers calling in, and the point of the program is to serve the caregivers. Caregiving is very stressful and it's very expensive for those people that they're caring for. And a lot of people think when they're calling that we are servicing the care receiver, but this particular program is for the caregiver. They do have an application that they can fill out. So when they call into the ADRC, those ladies in the ADRC will do the screening and see if they qualify for the National Family Caregiver Program. And then I get the intake and then send them the application. Just a few of the qualifications is the caregiver does not have to live with the care receiver. They don't have to live in the same home, but the care receiver does have to be 60 years or older. They can be under 60, but they have to have a doctor's note and diagnosis of dementia or some other type of debilitating disease. They do need to have some assistance with their activities of daily living and their instrumental activities of daily living. That would be bathing, dressing, grooming, going to their doctor's appointments, cooking, grocery shopping, cleaning their house. So they do have to have some assistance with that in order to qualify. My program, the National Family Caregiver Program, is not income-based. So that's one thing a lot of people ask, is it based on how much money you make? And it is not. So some of the things that we can help with is that we can help with some incontinence supplies. That would be Depends, briefs, wipes, gloves. We can also help with basic bathroom equipment that Medicaid or Medicare does not pay for. And another big ticket item is nutritional supplements. That would be like Ensure and Boost. A lot of older adults drink those as well, and they're very, very expensive. We also do support groups, counseling, and legal aid. And so all I have to do if you have people in your county that are caregiving for someone is just call the office. I have my numbers at the bottom, or they can call the ADRC. And then we will help them, work with them on getting the application in there and see how they qualify. They qualify and helping them get a voucher to help with those types of supplies or to help with some respite and see if they need some of those other services. And Mary Ann and I have been working together on doing some outreach, trying to get the word out that the program is here. Because a lot of the caregivers are at home stressed out because they're overwhelmed and they're paying a lot of money for all these supplies and they don't know that the services exist. And so we are trying very hard to get out there to let people know. And at the bottom of your sheet is just some of the places that we've been going to, and a lot of it is by word of mouth too. So if you have constituents that live in your counties that are caregiving, I have some flyers here and I have some applications that you all can take with you as well. So I'll hand it over to Mary Ann about grandparents.
Thank you, Amanda. I apologize for my voice. I've got allergies. So, and I'm the coordinator for the Kentucky Caregiver. I'm in charge of the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren program. It is income-based. It's 150% of the poverty level. However, if they are over that level, I can draw from Amanda's program, and so we've hardly ever had to turn anyone away from the program. It's such a great program, and we offer a clothing allowance, which is a $500 allowance, and we do a $500 clothing allowance for each grandchild. Some of these grandparents are raising seven grandchildren in one family, so it's a big help for them. Sometimes they get their grandchildren in the middle of the night with nothing, no furniture, no clothes, nothing, just what's the clothing that they have on their backs. So it's very beneficial to them. We also have group counseling and legal aid. A lot of these grandparents do take advantage of the legal aid because they have custody issues, and a lot of them have to get power of attorneys to take care of getting them enrolled in school and getting them to go get to the doctors and things like that, of that nature. And so they do take advantage of the legal aid that's a part of the program. Also, along with this program, we have some resources where they can get beds, because a lot of the grandparents don't even have furniture where they can have each grandchild in their own bed. And we try to make that part of the program where each child has their own bed. In fact, part of the clothing allowance allows for them to get a new comforter and quilt every year. This program is renewable every year. We realize that children grow. They, a lot of times the grandparents are calling before the end of the program saying, you know, so-and-so has grown out of their clothes. And I'm like, well, so they every year that they can use this program, they've used it. I'm working really hard to tell the grandparents, tell your friends about this, because word of mouth is one of the best advertisements that we have. I've got some applications and some flyers too for you to take back to your counties if you like. That's basically my program. Go ahead, any questions?
All right, any questions here about the grandparent program or the National Family Caregiver Program? It's what thought crosses my mind here is really I know there's a lot of grandparents who are raising kids in these circumstances. Some children are in abusive or really negative circumstances. Grandparents inherit. Why? We need a program that how to be a responsible parent.
Yes.
And actually get through some of these thickets out there. But there's a lot of grandparents who are, let's say, have children of their own, or have people in the family. They're two-income families. The husband and wife are both working, so now the grandparents are raising the kids again because the parents are gone all day. I know of a personal circumstance that the husband and wife both work. They live in a house they don't need to live in, bigger and more expensive than what I ever lived in, but they choose money over taking care of the kids. And I think it's wrong. I don't know how they get that. I have nothing I can do about it.
Well, and
It's
especially,
not my children, either, by the way.
and especially with the opioid addiction that's so prevalent now. So many families are affected by that, and that just, it's devastating. It's devastating our community. And I don't know, but a lot of our families have been affected by that, and that's how a lot of the grandparents end up raising their grandchildren. It's very sad, but it's a very much needed program.
Is this something that we can share on social media?
Yes,
For our
yes,
Yes, we're trying to.
yes,
We're not.
and we also have these flyers too, so whichever you prefer is great.
Thanks.
The motion to accept this. I guess we don't really, there's no action for it. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
you. There's just so many issues out there that it's hard to keep up with
Yes.
all the issues and opportunities and whatnot. All right, Daniel's story now about ARPA contracts for the KIPDA Economic Community and Development Division. Danielle.
Yes, sir. Hello. Good afternoon. This is agenda item number 11, page 31 of the board packet. Requesting board to ratify ARPA contracts for the said division is for Indian Hills, Houston Acres, and Parkway Village. Action is requested.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion on it? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
This is agenda item number 12. You all recall in the fall, the board approved the use of EDA CARES funding for us to submit an RFP for a broadband feasibility study. For the region, we have done that, and we received 3 responses to that RFP, 2 of which were legitimate. The one response from LIT Communities was exorbitantly high and beyond the scope of what we would need. So we have 2 other responses. One was the Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group bid, which came in at $100,000. The other was Breaking Point Solutions bid, which came in at $67,609. The board can approve entering into contract with the bidder or approve for the executive committee to convene and review. Action.
Jalen, would you want to review that again here? How much, what lit community was too much? How much was there?
It was LIT Communities, their bid was $594,000.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what was the number 2?
Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group
Where are they from?
here in Louisville. But theirs was $100,000.
Have they worked with the broadband? And
They have done a few in their proposal. They have not all in the state of Kentucky. They work around the country, but they did have some examples.
The primary examples were in Indiana, I think.
Yeah, the primary ones were in.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
they had a few others outside.
who was the next one?
Breaking Point Solutions,
And they're what?
$67,609, and they have done. I have to go back and look at the proposal again, but more than 20 of these studies across the state. Actually, they've been doing it for several counties in the state of Kentucky. Scott County in particular was one that they did, and Scott County used their feasibility study to apply for a lot of the funding that they received in working in conjunction. I can't remember now what provider.
Yeah, Scott County entered into agreement with Spectrum.
Right, and so Spectrum utilized the broadband feasibility study information that came from that. Yeah.
So exactly what is this study supposed to do?
So it's going to help identify, it's going to help. So typically how those processes work, you all have lots of providers come into your fiscal court and city council meetings and, hey, this is what it's going to cost. We need this much money from you. And you are relying solely on what they're telling you the need is and what that cost is. This is going to be a third-party consultant that does the evaluation, not connected to being a provider, right? So they're going to come in and say, here's the analysis of the homes that we think that need to be affected. Here's their speeds. Here's the estimated cost for this service, and then provide that broken down for each of our counties.
But at least 2 counties don't need this right now. Shelby County just signed a contract with All Points. Oldham County is going to announce next week a contract countywide with another provider.
Right.
So
it would just be additional. Grady County, who has actually already partnered to do that expansion service, maybe, I don't know for sure if it's like, I don't know the full details of the contract that you all have signed, and if they're actually going to cover expansion to every household, or if it's just they're breaking it down by the most need, like the highest need. I don't know how that. So this would just be additional information for any county that has already.
well, I mean, I don't know Judge Ison's circumstance exactly, but in my county, we're going to pay. We put out a proposal for grants, and we had several companies apply, and we're settled on one. We're going to give them, I think, $8.5 million, and they're going to put in $25 million to cover every house in our county that does not have broadband service.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's part of it, and so I don't know what Judge Ison's deal is over there in Shelby County, but you don't need to pay for Oldham County in this, and we're we don't need it.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say. We do, in the RFP, we do have a provision in the states that we can modify the scope of services before entering into contracts. So we can award a provider and then request a revision to the proposal to exclude Oldham County, for
Right,
example.
well, we don't want anybody
And
to
actually, one of the
confuse the issue more with our, somebody else calling people or whatever.
Right, and actually, in Breaking Point Solutions bid, they did have it breaking down costs per county, so I know exactly the amount that the contract would be reduced to not include your county.
Yeah, I think we could back our two out. I'm still concerned with the governor making the statement that he doesn't have an office of broadband in state government until he does. We can't get any federal funding. So we're out here working and there's no federal funding available until the governor gets his office set.
I was under the impression that was going to be handled through the Kentucky Infrastructure.
That's what I thought.
Me too. I think so.
He doesn't know that. Or that was.
And the money was already there. Right, I think it was
Same.
Sandy Williams, exactly. Sandy, the last meeting that I had when we asked about broadband, Sandy said they were still going through the regulations in order to start awarding from that October submittal date, but KIA is handling those applications currently.
We just heard a presentation from the same folks at Shelby County. I'm very impressed. They're talking about every household.
Yeah, we were looking at this as when Danielle originally presented just another tool in your toolbox. When KIPDA received the EDA dollars for economic resiliency, Danielle wanted to try to use those dollars for services within the region, which I really commend rather than use them internally for our operations. So it was trying to use some of the dollars that we received to benefit you all as our members. So this was how we were trying to go about it. So if you don't need it, we can take you out. But I know Trimble County, I know you all probably benefit Spencer, Henry for sure. So however you all want to proceed, but I do think there is a very noticeable need for this study.
And again, like I said, any data, like any, you said that company can actually utilize this information as well, you know, but just so you know, the cost for Oldham County was $13,640. The cost for Shelby was $11,941. With those two counties removed, the contract amount is $40,028.
So you're recommending the low bidder.
Yes, I would. I think that they've, based on the previous studies they've done across the state, they do a very quality job, and especially for the price, what they propose is what we requested.
Danielle, am I correct in that they did the regional study at the Barron River?
They did.
So they worked with another one of our councils of governments and the Bowling
They also
area.
become highly recommended from the Center for Rural Development. They work with a lot of their counties that they serve.
And, if we approve this today, you have kind of a time frame of when that.
That's the one thing that I didn't have for Breaking Point Solutions. I did not have a timeline, so I don't know the full scope of how long it would take for them to do. It didn't seem like the timeline would be very but I can confirm that after the board meeting with Jeff.
I think from the other ones was what, 6 months?
Yeah, but I think what the other two proposals were, they were
Exactly.
they
So
were
I think-
very
I think-
expensive.
I
So
think that it would be
we have
less
that.
than the 6 months, so
Yeah, I
it's
think-
not a drawn out process.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty quick. I think you would be able to, my goal is that we would be able to get this in time for the second round, because the state's done the first round for broadband grants. I don't know if they've actually officially awarded any of those just yet, but they're gonna begin moving forward with that second round. And so I wanna try to get this study completed, so you all have that at hand, or if or when a provider comes to you wanting you to contribute for a second round of grant applications for that.
Okay, sure, good, well, good. Everybody, broadband now is like electricity was, 150 years ago or something.
Like water, like water.
Or a water line, yeah.
You got water in every home.
Right, now everybody, you need it, and you gotta have it, so.
Yeah, it's a needed.
There's no doubt we need it. It's the $30 million I need to have. That's what I'm.
And the price now, I mean, get it done.
And so this would be another, because I think this is also going to be helpful, because you do have a lot of, the infrastructure bill that came down, there's a lot of funding allocated for broadband, folks are going to be applying. This is a study to have in hand for reference if you want to apply and for funding. So that is going to shore up any sort of application that you want to submit for for broadband grants.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to accept Danielle's recommendation.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good
Well,
luck.
I have the floor. Thank you. I just another quick reminder, I didn't think to get this put on the agenda, but you all probably already know this. You probably want to reach back out to your clerks and to your treasurers. This is a reminder that we're doing away with DUNS. There's gonna be no DUNS numbers anymore. You're gonna have a unique entity ID number, and that's gonna be rolling out on April 4th. So just to touch in with your staff to make sure that everything's in shape and that they're aware of that transition.
Can I ask you a question?
Maybe, I don't know if I can answer.
I'm going online to the SAM's
Uh-huh.
website. And when you go through all the steps, one of the things, and I don't know if anybody else has done this yet, but it looks like your DUNS number is your new SAM's number. I don't know if that's
Well, no, it's not. It's not.
Is there some way you all, is there?
So the DUNS number is a solely numeric number, where your unique entity identity number is an alphanumeric number. So that's, your DUNS number will go away completely. It will look kind of similar, but there's going to be letters in front of that.
They put it in the front.
How will
we receive that?
You have to go online.
You have to go on and register.
You re-register every SAM.
Yeah, through SAM. So I would actually, if you haven't started the process and somebody hasn't already walked through, I would maybe wait. Like I said, there's going to be a window of time where SAM.gov is updating all of their infrastructure, right? So all of their platforms. And so they're going to be offline from April 1st to April 4th. They're going to pop back on April 4th. And I would actually recommend, if you haven't started the process, to maybe wait until April 4th, until all that's been transitioned over.
Maybe that's, I might have done this.
And so I would wait till April 4th. And they do have some FAQs and some information out there that I definitely recommend reading through it. And with connecting yourself, if you're, as a county or a city, if you have any grant funds that are connected and there's a portal that they need you to, you're gonna want to make sure that anything connected to your DUNS number is, you are following through and then updating it with the appropriate unique, the new number, identity number, because that's how they track and get you your money, right? So if there's a disconnect there, you can have some issues. So, and reporting, if you're having to do any reporting on any of these funds, you're gonna wanna make sure in all your reporting that that number gets updated. So just a reminder that that's coming and to start having those conversations. Like I said, if you haven't started the process, I would maybe wait till the 4th, because your DUNS number will absolutely completely be gone at that point.
I know I've received some scam email.
There's a third party people.
Yeah.
Once you pay for the service.
Yeah.
But you can do it yourself. That's.
Yeah, that's just a, yeah.
Yeah, if you go
Rating.
through
I was
it,
maybe it's
actually
rating.
pay. What you're speaking about doing away with the DUNS number, is that just a Kentucky thing, or is that also over
I
Or
was
Indiana,
thinking,
sorry.
I think that's across the country. I think that's a national gig.
We have not heard anything about that.
Yeah, so your DUNS number is going away. Yeah, so everything's gonna be, in DUNS, you used to go through a different site to get your DUNS number that was different from your SAM number, and that was all two different things. Now everything's going into one place, it's all SAM.gov, you do everything through SAM.gov. Yeah, like I said, and watch when you're searching on that, because just a general Google search will take you to a third party platform, a third party website that's trying to charge you money to help you with this process. So make sure you're on the actual SAM.gov website, because it does not cost any money for you to have to do this. It's an aggravation. So you may want to pay someone else to do it, but you don't have to. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you, and we did approve that. So, all right, number 13, hazard mitigation plan update from May 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a reminder before I start, there's a sign-in sheet going around somewhere. If everyone in this room could please.
Is this just for our board, and is this just for Kentucky?
It's just for the FEMA purposes.
Yeah, so just for contact.
That's not.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so if everyone can make sure they sign that, that would be fantastic. So as you of course know, we have worked with your communities or most of your communities on updating the hazard mitigation plan over the past year. And in our January board meeting, I informed you all that we had completed the plan, submitted it to FEMA. They had given us approval right before our meeting, and then the board, of course, approved the plan at the board meeting. And since then, we have been working with your county emergency managers to push the resolutions to adopt the plan through to all the counties and cities within the HMP region. So at this juncture, we have received completed resolutions from all the Joliet County, Trimble County, city of Smithfield and Henry, and the cities of River Bluff and Orchard Grass Hills and Oldham. However, all of them have taken the resolutions to their they've passed the resolutions, we just need to sign resolutions. And those are the only ones we're waiting on. And then that brings me to my next topic of conversation, which is the most important, which is the HMP hour tracking form. So most of you have probably seen an email from me recently outlining the in-kind max requirement that is a part of this program. And what that means is basically any time spent reviewing the plan and any associated documents, time spent as part of participating in the update, and volunteer time is associated with a dollar amount that we can use to calculate the in-kind match instead of us having to pay out of pocket. So assuming that most of you, of course, the board of directors, judge executives, their fiscal court members, mayors, city councilors, and various county and city staff have reviewed the plan before the passing of the resolution, it would be extremely helpful if we could get everyone to fill out that form. It takes about 20 seconds. You just put your name and the time you started reviewing, the time you ended reviewing, and that's it. If we can get you all to kind of urge your circles, your communities to complete that form, that would be great. I know some of you have already completed.
What I'm curious about is, can you give me a list of who hasn't?
Yes, I can.
And
So
I just need to know who leaves.
okay. Yeah, so I will send around kind of an update email with people, with some stragglers. So after my calculations, we were about 150 hours short on in-kind match, which seems pretty daunting, but just to give you an example, since I've sent out the email about a week and a half ago regarding this hour tracking form, we've gotten 34 submissions, which accounts for about 60.6 hours. So we've already made up some of those. If we can get everyone to fill out the form, we will be well on track to meeting this match requirement. So I did the math. There are about 276 county and city representatives and staff members who should have reviewed the plan that we could get to fill out this form. So if we can even get half of that, that would be great. So additionally, anyone tuning in today who is maybe has not been part of this process and is not funded, does not have a federally funded position, if you would like to review the plan and fill out the form, that would be very helpful as well. The more hours we can get, the better. I will also be probably in touch with your emergency managers to maybe present at the LEPC meetings, and it could be a possibility that we have a regional hazard mitigation planning committee meeting next month, hopefully with food involved to entice participation, if we need to make up some of those remaining hours, if we don't meet our goal by then. So again, the link and the instructions and all that information was sent to most of our counties and your fiscal court members and staff via email. It is the link to the time tracker is also on the home page of the hazard mitigation plan, which is www.kipdahnp.org. And there's
little message with a button, so it should be pretty easy to find. If you cannot find the link, you can also, of course, email me directly and I can provide that information to you. And that concludes my report. No action is requested. Does anyone have any questions?
It looked like it. All right, thank you, Dave. Number 14, legislation updates, Kentucky. Jared.
Today is the 55th day of the 60-day session that concludes on April 14th. The first and main priority of the session is to deliver a balanced budget. The executive branch's two-year budget, House Bill 1, allocates $26.3 billion. The House passed their version of the budget on January 20th. The Senate passed their version of the budget with Senate Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 1 on March 9th. The House failed to concur with the Senate changes, and both chambers have entered into budget negotiations in the conference committee. A few highlights of the Senate Committee Substitute 1 includes bolstering the state's rainy day fund of $1.756 billion. Additionally, the Senate substitute leaves an estimated $1.3 billion remaining after the biennium to provide the state flexibility. It also includes the state tax refund plan, which includes $500 for single filers and $1,000 for households, and increases inmate per diem state reimbursement rates to county jails by $4, reducing the burden on local jails that house state inmates. I reported last month that House Bill 482 had passed the House unanimously. The bill codified the Joint Fund Administration's funding formula and allocated an additional $2 million in each of the next 2 fiscal years to be dispersed according to the formula of the area development districts across the Commonwealth for local government technical assistance. At KIPDA, that's Danielle's division. The bill passed the Senate A&R Committee on March 16th with the Senate Committee substitute to remove the additional funding. It was stated that any increases for funding needed to go through the appropriate process in the pre-budget conference committee. So the clock is obviously running out, but we're continuing that push. House Bill 242, the 2-year transportation spending plan, passed the House on Tuesday and is now in the Senate. The proposed $4.5 billion spending plan prioritized safety and economic development. The House Road Development Plan allocated $557,712,619 to the KIPDA region. Broken down by county, that's $89,178. Get my numbers all mixed up. $89,178,000 to Bullitt County, $7 million to Henry County, $332,339,619 to Jefferson, $72,849,000 to Oldham, $46,075,000 to Shelby, $6,121,000 to Spencer, and $4,150,000 to Trimble. And if you all haven't seen it, I've got a list of the counties here with the projects that are included. House Bill 588 passed out of the House Local Government Committee yesterday. The bill forces the state auditor to be current or to allow counties to hire their own CPAs. CAECO and the Kentucky County Judge Association did a survey and found out that in most cases, CPA firms were up to 50% cheaper than the state auditor. House Bill 453 passed the Senate and has been sent to the governor for signature. The bill provides local governments the same protections already in statute for the state when selecting a successful bidder for contracts. The measure also clarifies rules for video conference meetings. Practices public agency have followed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Senate Bill 106, which established a way to administratively dissolve cities that have no elected officials and do not collect funds, passed the House and has been delivered to the governor. Senate Bill 106 outlines how the Department of Local Government will determine whether a city should get dissolved. The measure includes an appeals process by which the city or a resident can challenge any DLG administrative proceeding. Senate Bill 135, the County Clerk Modernization Bill, passed both the House and Senate and has been delivered to the governor for signature. The bill seeks to accelerate the online availability of record instruments such as titles, deeds, and mortgages. The legislation would amend state statute to designate 90% of the funds held for the local records grant program be set aside and distributed as grants for county clerks, and that the $10 storage fee collected by county clerks shall be held for the exclusive purpose of providing funding for the permanent storage of record instruments. House Bill 314 reported favorably from the Senate, State, and Local Government Committee yesterday. The bill would have the following impacts on Louisville Metro. It changes from 3 to 2 the number of consecutive terms that can be served by the mayor of Louisville. It allows annexations with 66% yes vote by residents of the affected area and would permit forming a new city in an unincorporated area that has over 6,000 people, with 66% of the residents having to agree. And finally, House Bill 239 also reported favorably from the Senate State and Local Government Committee yesterday. The bill would prevent any constable taking office for the first time after January 1st, 2023, from exercising police powers without training for the Kentucky Criminal Justice Training Center. This concludes my report. And we'll have a final report next month.
All right, thank you, Jared, appreciate that. All right, Indiana, Kevin.
Wow, Jared, that's a lot of numbers. But thankfully, this year was not a budget year in Indiana. So instead of trying to determine what they were going to do with money, they tried to determine how to take more power and authority away from municipalities and counties. Seemed to be the nature of the beast this year. Legislative session ended 2 weeks ago. This was a short session again, not a budget year. A number of bills have been sent to the governor for signing. Obviously, he has vetoed some. Those vetoes will result in a one-day veto session on May 24th. Again, a number of bills were passed. Some were good, some were bad. Senate Bill 361 established a state economic development district council, and that council then has the authority to create what is be very similar to local TIF districts. The funding that would be used through those TIF districts would come from incremental state sales taxes, incremental state income, and local property taxes. They assured us that the local property tax would not be impacted, and it would just be revenues that were coming to the state. I don't know how many of you experienced this in Kentucky, but in Indiana, when we have a dark box or an empty big box store, such as a vacant Walmart or vacant Target, the owners appeal the taxes and they appeal them down significantly. It's often hard to come up with what a good assessment is on those dark boxes. Senate Bill 145 actually set in place a formula for removing a lot of these appeals from the property tax board agenda, and the formula will be used to set what the assessment will be based on the first 5 years of the commercial properties assessment and its construction value. So that basically eliminates a lot of municipality and county having to fight these tax appeals. And frees up a lot of space on the property tax board schedule. House Bill 1002 was one that was going to take away a lot of taxing authority from municipalities and counties. In the last hours, the entire language was stripped out of the bill. In its place was language that will actually reduce the state income tax rate over the course of the next 7 years. The first 2 years are already set to be reduced. The goal is to have the state income tax become the second lowest state in the nation income tax, just above those states who do not have any state income tax. In the years 3 through 7, the state has set a minimum threshold that they have to have X number of dollars in reserve that were not spent in the budget in order for the percentage to be reduced even further. Electric vehicles, House Bill 1221, electric vehicle charging fees will be based on a formula per kilowatt hour sold. As some of you are seeing, a lot of charging stations are popping up in Walmart parking lots, different places like that. Right now, the fees are not regulated. And in Indiana, they will start being regulated based upon the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission's formula for setting the rates for those kilowatt hours. So it'll be more user-friendly, and you don't have to worry about what the rate's going to be from one station to another. That bill also provides incentives and rebates to build electric vehicle charging stations throughout the state. House Bill 1260 was a catch-all bill, probably 20 different items in it. The one that's significant to counties is that it actually repeals the mortgage deduction on assessment. So on your property tax assessment, there is a mortgage deduction that you can take as well as a homestead deduction. In Indiana, they are going to repeal the mortgage deduction, which was a flat amount, but they're going to increase the homestead deduction by the same amount, basically getting rid of one deduction and adding it to the other. If you have a data breach, it is now, you have to now report that to the state. House Bill 1351 requires that anytime a data breach is determined, you have to file a notice along with a report to the Indiana Department of Homeland Security within 45 days of that data breach. Senate Bill 19 increases the, or adds language to the definition of a police officer and actually increases or enhances the charge that can be levied against a person who points a gun at or discharges a gun in the area of a police officer while they're committing other crimes. So just pointing a gun at an officer now carries a larger, not only a fine, but a larger enhanced sentence in India. Regulation of dams. If you're in the Louisville metro area, you may be hearing some language that Mayor Gahan from New Albany is upset with removal of a Lowhead Dam on Silver Creek that empties into the Ohio River. That Lowhead Dam lies between Clarksville and New Albany. On any given day when the water is low, the Lowhead Dam is only about 8 feet tall. Over the course of the last 5 or 6 weeks, with the river being as high as it is, you would not even see the dam. These were put in place many, many years ago. They are very hazardous. Boaters like to play around them, canoes, and they can develop turbulence on the downriver side and suck a lot of boats under and people drown. And so the Army Corps of Engineers, Department of Natural Resources is trying to get rid of a lot of these Lowhead dams. This one actually puts in place the ability for that to take place in a lot quicker fashion. Senate Bill 411 actually puts in place some basic restrictions on solar and wind energy. Now, it's not restricting how they would be developed, but if a community establishes zoning that would provide guidance for how solar and wind would be provided for within a community, the state says, if you're going to do that, here's the base requirements that you got to have. So it kind of sets a baseline, such that everybody's operating on the same playing field. A lot of this comes from a project up in central Indiana where a foreign company has come in and bought up hundreds and hundreds of acres of property in 3 or 4 counties to install a large wind and solar project. So this is an attempt to help those counties and municipalities kind of fight against these large scale developments. So that's a highlight. Session ended 2 weeks ago. I guess I can provide an update of the veto session probably at the June meeting. So probably won't have an update at night.
Thank you, Kevin. The March personnel report from Kelly.
Thank you. This is agenda item 16 in your packets on page 32. This is the personnel report for March. We had 2 hires in March. And actually both these gentlemen are in the room, so if you don't mind standing when I say your name. Alex Masorski has been hired as Transportation Planner 3 in the Division of Transportation. He started March 8th. He earned a bachelor's degree in journalism from Webster University. He came to KIPDA from Rye, New Orleans, where he worked as the executive director. He moved to Louisville from New Orleans. Welcome, Alex.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Joseph Garcia has been hired as a GIS specialist in the Division of Transportation. He started March 14th. He earned a bachelor's degree in geography from the University of Louisville. He came to KIPDA from Connected Nation, where he worked as a geospatial technician. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you.
We had 2 resignations. Holly Toronto resigned as a special projects coordinator in the Division of Social Services effective March 16th. And Carla DeLong resigned as a Michelle P. Waiver case manager in the Division of Social Services And her last date is March 5th. We still have 3 position vacancies, the Finance and Contracts Management Coordinator, which was Lynn Evans' old position in the Division of Social Services, Economic Resiliency Intern, in the Division of Community Economic Development, and Alternative Transportation Customer Service Coordinator in the Division of Transportation. That's in the Every Community Counts program that Elizabeth heads up. Job descriptions for these vacant positions can be found on our website, about/careers. We currently have 81 full-time permanent employees and 2 part-time permanents. That concludes my report. Actually,
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 17, Kelly, on employee disability and life.
Okay, thank you. So, we provide KIPDA, life insurance and short-term and long-term disability to our employees. And the last time we put this out was 2017. So we worked with our broker, who is Mike Williams of Sherrill Morgan, and he provided us quotes from 4 different companies, including our current providers, which are Minnesota Life and Madison National. We also got quotes from Guardian, Kansas City Life, and Dearborn National. These are all what they call A-rated insurance companies. We received quotes from these different providers, and Kansas City Life had the lowest bid, but it was approximately $1,264 less than Minnesota Life and Madison National. They partnered together for these. And so really, based on our experience with Minnesota Life and Madison National, it's our recommendation that we continue or renew our insurance coverage with these providers, with it only being a $1,260 savings annually. We really are happy with our current providers. They do offer a lot of supplemental benefits to us, including training and website training and whatnot. And we've not had any problems with coverage or payment of claims. Just to give you an idea of pricing, currently we are paying with Minnesota Life and Mass National annually for all of these things, $36,829.18. And it would be, our renewal price would be $38,512.54. So it's just an increase of a little over 4%, or $1,683.36 annually. So I guess what I'm seeking is board approval to continue or renew our coverage with Madison National and Minnesota Life for our life and disability insurance. Are there any questions?
Is this 4% being passed on to the employees?
No.
Okay.
Kelly, you said these carriers are
A-rated.
A-rated. By AM Best Company standard rating
I know that it has to do
is
with.
A plus. Not
Okay.
A is like not, that is less than the best.
Okay, well, I know that these are at least A, and and I know that the way that Cheryl Morgan puts it to me is it's based on their financial strength, so I'm not sure.
Right, well, I understand that.
Okay.
A plus, Prudential, Metropolitan, New York Life, well, these are all Guardian, would be an A plus rated company. I won't say that they're weak, B and C is really bad. But how much life insurance do we provide?
It's twice their annual salary for life insurance. It's twice their annual salary plus 10,000.
Plus what?
Plus 10,000. So if somebody made at a max up to 110,000. So if you made 30,000, you would have a $70,000 policy. Now, of course,
Yeah,
once
80, would you? Twice your salary
plus 10,000, what I said, yeah. So if you had $30,000 salary, it would be 70. So it'd be 60 plus 10 would be 70.
Oh.
And it maxes at 110. So.
Okay, well, that's, I mean, that's good. I'm a proponent of life insurance. If somebody dies and you're employed.
Yeah.
It's terrible disruption to their family, and economic security is the only thing that can hang on to at a really tough time. So what about our disability, are this short or long term?
Short, we provide both short and long-term disability.
Employees paid for by
KIPDA.
both of them?
Mhm.
Well, that's, I think our management structure here is
Yes, very good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Motion questions here?
I was gonna make a motion, but you asked for.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Make a motion to go with Kelly's recommendation.
Second,
Second.
is this a 2-year, a one?
I'm sorry, yes, it's 2
2-year
years.
rate
Yeah, so it'll be
guarantee?
through 2024, yes. 22-year rate guarantee.
Motion and second, any further discussion? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're back to Tom Pope, number 18, ratification of the mid-year budget revision.
Thank you. Item 18 is on page 33. And last month, we presented a mid-year budget revision that included a 2% salary increase effective January 1st, 2022. And we were asked by the board to look to see if we could handle a 4% increase rather than 2%. And we ran those numbers, and the board also authorized the executive committee to approve the budget revision after we looked into those numbers. We did have a meeting with the executive committee and presented the information, and it was agreed by the and approved by the executive committee to go with the 3% raise. It just wasn't felt that we could sustain at this point, that we could guarantee this to sustain the 4% in future years. That was what we agreed to. Board, and this page is the recap. Last month, we presented all the supporting pages. Basically, the changes here are the salary and the fringe and the director rate based on a 3%, 2%. That answers questions.
That 3% from the first of the year.
From, yeah, January.
That's retroactive. So, coming up again on another year in January. So that's what we looked at, Judge.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the work. I appreciate the work of you, Jared, on this. You know, it was, I think, well defined what you did. I'm sorry we got 1%, but that's 1 more percent than was here on the table when we came in. And I thank the committee for the work and what they're doing. And I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Second. Judge, thank you. Moving second, today, further discussion on that. In favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Time now for intergovernmental reviews from Jared.
We have intergovernmental reviews A through K. All 11 projects have been submitted for review. No comments have been received, so the projects can all be taken together.
Motion to approve the project.
Second.
Second, to approve these intergovernmental reviews. Jefferson County. Those 2 counties. Yes, all right. Yeah. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now time for number 20, executive report.
Well, it's great seeing so many people coming back, returned in person. Next month, we're going to move back to the horseshoe format to accommodate people while everybody can space around. I really want to thank Jennifer and Paul because they've had to adapt many times throughout the last 2 years in order to keep these meetings flowing. But again, great seeing everybody. And I think, as you might have noticed, last month we had a report on the ADRC and the advisory council. This month with Marianne and Amanda on the Caregiver program. This agency is the board of directors, and I know that we have so many services within this agency that I don't think that we do a good enough job educating you all on what we provide. So we're going to make more of a concerted effort so you all can learn about all the programs that we do have as we move forward. And that'll be balanced with some of the speakers. Next month, we're going to have Kirsten O'Leary with Kentucky Brownfields redevelopment program. They have funding opportunities to remediate and redevelop blighted and potentially contaminated properties. So Kirsten's gonna be here next month to speak to you all on some of those training opportunities. Move to travel. We have not had travel in 2 years. The travel, we have had training opportunities that have been delayed. We've had training opportunities that were approved and then got canceled. So this is really trying to catch up with some of the training that had been budgeted within division's budgets that allow staff to get back to get the training. So I'll just go through these. These are again for your all's consideration. Any questions at the end? The first is the American Planning Association National Conference. This would be for Danielle Story, Katie Candle, and Ryan Boyd. The second is the 2022 KEPRA. What is that?
I think it's KIPDA, Kentucky Public Human Resources.
Okay. That acronym, so it's the human resources, that's for Kelly and Alicia Rush and her division. Then we have the KAD, which is the Kentucky Association of Development Directors. That is myself and my colleagues around the state. We meet every month in Frankfurt. Twice a year, we go to the eastern and the western part of the state and invite our federal and state partners. So that meeting is May 11th to 13th in Kansas, and that would be for myself. The 2022 ESRI User Conference. This is what we've always alternated every year, Zach and the GIS department. We have through our contracts, transportation, KIA, training requirements for our GIS staff, and this, the way we alternate allows our staff to all meet those training requirements. And then the final one is the NATO 2022 Regional Transportation Conference, and this is Randall Embry. Randall is the statewide regional transportation representative for the state, so that is how Randall goes and fulfills his commitment at those conferences. So again, those are the 5 items for consideration. Open to questions.
Mr. Chairman, have we resumed travel privileges to California?
Well, Jared was kind of nervous about it. He called me yesterday and said, well, well, I don't know. I haven't heard much about that stopping people from coming to Kentucky, but
Motion to approve.
a second. Okay, now I want to ask Danielle, all everybody else going, you're all prepared to wear a mask? You gotta wear a mask on an airplane. 3 more in an airport. 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks? Maybe.
Yeah, I won't have to.
Huh?
This is May.
I won't have to at that point. All right, I got a motion and a second, all in favor. Okay.
And finally, the meetings for next month, we have the Regional Planning Council, which will meet here in the Clerk room and on Zoom on April 12th at 11 o'clock. The Regional Water Management Council will be the same day at 1:30. The Transportation Technical Coordinating Meeting will be April 13th at 12:30 here in the boardroom. And then our regular meetings on April 28th, the Transportation Policy Committee, April 28th at 12:30, and the April KIPDA Board of Directors meeting at 2 p.m. And this concludes my report.
Motion to approve. So need that? No. All right. Any other business here today?
John Logan, is John Logan there today?
All in favor, please say aye.